Hi, welcome to the market alert for Friday, the 15th of September 2017. So yesterday the pound did absolutely nothing until Carney opened his mouth and sent the pound flying up 150 points there from this blue line to the red line. And if we have a look, you'll see the reason behind this, and that is the pound jumps as the Bank of England hints at a rate rise, citing the increase in inflation that we saw earlier on in the week there. So rate rise coming later on. And the interesting thing here is that the central banks are getting what they want now, and that's inflation. They've been trying to get this since 2008 by pumping money into the markets. The problem is it only went into bonds, stocks and the housing, where they wanted it in the consumer part. To try and absorb some of the debt by inflating their way out of it, but it hasn't happened, and as night follows day, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't start to happen when things start to fall apart. So it's interesting to see this, and also something else you've got to keep in mind is that interest rates are at historic lows. They can only go one way. You've got trillions in bonds that nobody really wants. They're only buying it because they have no choice really, and therefore getting pennies back over many years by doing so. And again, of course, when rates start to go up, it's going to have an impact on the bond market as well, because who wants to buy bonds with low yields when you can buy them with higher ones? So these clever souls have painted themselves into a corner by printing all of this debt at paltry returns, and it's going to be something that's going to come back and bite them on the backside in the future. That's how bright and clever they are. In the pound daily, well, you can see the market there moving higher, definitely on the upside in the longer term as well. Pound up on the overnight as well. It's been a strange week, more like a week trading in the twilight zone, and more on that in just a moment when we look at the Dow. But today, what have we got? The wheeling out an MPC member. I've never heard of this one. I think it's pronounced Vey. Speaks at 9:50, medium impact news item. Retail sales out in the US and core retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing. And what else have we got later on in the day? There's an awful lot out today, but it's all medium impact, so probably not going to have too much of an effect. And the last thing out is the prelim UM consumer sentiment at 3 p.m. So moving on to the Dow for yesterday, as I said in the alert this week, even though it's been like I say, trading in the twilight zone, the market's wanting to move higher, get back to the all-time highs, and that's precisely what we saw yesterday. The market getting up to the 22,000, superseding this as well. We'll look at that in just a moment in the daily chart. And then the usual thing in the evening, mission accomplished in the first part, market up and then sideways, and then down a bit on the overnight, and then now back up and heading towards new all-time highs once again. So the high for yesterday, we'll just draw that in now, and we'll remove all of the others that we have on the chart. This is the new all-time high. The insanity and madness continues. As I've said before, they want the markets up. We have absolutely nothing volume-wise, apart from sell days, which you'll see there, but you get nothing on the upside because they can just levitate this market higher, which is exactly what we're seeing here at the moment. So again, expect another up day until they can stop this sort of insanity continuing. And if ever you wanted proof of manipulation, well, we've got a situation here where North Korea has fired ballistic missiles over Japan, and the market is up on the overnight. Now, this would never have happened in the past had there not been the hands of manipulation by the central banks. The market would have been terrified by such a thing and would have actually sold off. But it just goes to show that the invisible hand of the central banks is buying anything they can, or selling the volatility index to keep these markets on the highs. It is utterly blatant what is going on. For years I've said they're manipulated, and now it is confirmed. And here again, another fund manager says markets are wrong. Hugh Hendry shuts down his hedge fund. Here is his farewell letter. The man was bearish all the way from 2009 all the way through, and obviously you just can't fight the central banks when they can manipulate the prices higher as and when they wish to do so. The trend is your friend is a cliche, but in this case it was proven to be correct, and he's just called it a day. And he's absolutely right. The market shouldn't be like this. They should have sold off big style before now. But as I've said before, this is the only illusion that is going to keep the general populace comfortable and confident that things are okay to keep going out and spending and racking up more and more debt. As it says in an article down here, you can see how much things have changed. There's housing bubble number 2, or 2.0 as they call it. And then there was one about how many Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck, which you see here. 97 million American workers are living paycheck to paycheck, and no surprise there at all. But the stock market's up, and that's all that matters. Right, let's have a quick look at the implied volatility. Well, as you'd expect, the implied volatility down 764 to 717. A few weeks ago I said I didn't think we'd revisit this area, but I was totally wrong. The volatility trade is still on. They're still selling the VIX heavily. Market up, volatility down. And as I've said before, the only way this is going to end is in tears as we go forward, whether it's in October or at the end of the year. They've moved and managed to postpone the debt ceiling vote in October. That's now December the 6th. And there's a proposal to remove it completely when they vote next time, and they can print whatever they want. And again, that is indicative of an empire that is, and also a currency that is starting to show more than cracks. There are craters that are starting to appear with the US dollar, and we saw yesterday how the market was down on the dollar. We saw how the pound is up yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see how things start to pan out. Right, that'll do it for this one. I'll report in, but it could be fairly quiet Friday. It's been the twilight zone of trading this week. Very strange week indeed. But given the manipulation, I suppose there's no surprises there. It's just how quiet it has been. But again, it's the calm before the storm. Right, that will do it. I will see you in Monday's edition of the Market Alert. Have a great weekend, and as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.